So this is going to sort of be a second part to the video. So normally when I'm doing water changes and things like that, I try and do them all on the same day just because it just makes life a lot easier. I just sort of put one day aside to sort of get everything done. So this is the tank I've got in my room. You can see it's a little bit murky in this because the fish know I'm about to feed them, so they do get quite active. You can see I've got that large mini ice grouper in there. I've also got another large panther grouper, and up in this basket over here I have got another blue spotted, or I think it's called a blue peacock grouper. I'll chuck a picture up of it anyway, but I do have one of them in that basket growing on. He's only small. I'll try and get him on camera when I feed. It's going to be quite difficult, but yes, this is the fish tank I've got in my room. So again, like I did downstairs, whenever I do a water change on here, I do like to feed, just so I can give them quite a heavy feeding, make sure everyone eats, and then when I do the water change, it just ensures that the water stays nice and clear. I do need to do an update on the sump down here because I've made a few changes down there as well, but again, that will be an up and coming video, and it's just a long-winded one that I want to try and keep for when I've got a bit more spare time. But yeah, this is the fish tank. I'll quickly show you all the fish that I've got in there. So you can see the marks down the tank. That's where my big mini ice grouper over here tends to splash quite a lot when we feed, and I get tired of cleaning the glass, so I just leave the splashes on there. I've got a little Stars and Stripes puffer. I've had him since he was tiny. He's growing like a weed. I've got my Sailfin tang. I've got Regal tang, Yellow tang, hiding in the back of the rock just because look at that fish. That fish is just incredible. The colours on this thing are just unreal. And then when he gets proper fired up, he colours up so well. A lot of people have told me this fish is quite good eating, which you don't really want to hear when you're buying it as a pet. But yeah, he is an absolute beast. The orange on his fins, the blues, it's just, yeah, he's incredible. But yeah, back here, I've got you can probably just see him there. It's a vampire tang. He likes to hide behind the rock quite a bit. And then somewhere else behind here, he's very shy, but I've shown him before. You might just be able to see his spots in the background, but I do have a panther grouper sort of hiding in the centre of the screen there as well. I do also have an eel in here somewhere. I've got a moray eel. I don't know what type of eel he is. I believe you might be able to see him just down there if the camera can focus. He's literally just in the... It's not going to focus. He may come out. There he is. You can just see him in the centre of the screen there, right at the back. But he'll probably come out at some point when I do feed. But yeah, so this is my Red Sea Reefer 350. As I said, I've made quite a few changes down in the sump, so I do plan on showing you that. I've got things like a custom ceramic chamber, like an extra add-on fish tank that I've added. I've got an algae scrubber, and I'm also adding a new tank to this side, which I'm going to put a refugium in as well. So yeah, that's something to look out for. I'm picking that tank up this weekend hopefully. So I've got some Dragon's Breath algae that's growing up in this basket. I had to keep it away from the tangs because they would absolutely demolish it. But yeah, I'm going to have that in there, and it's going to be like a rotating, tumbling type thing. And yeah, I'm looking forward to getting that up and running as well. But yeah, so what I'm going to do is now I'm going to quickly feed. I'll try and feed up in the basket first, and then yeah, I'll feed everything else, and then we'll start doing a water change on this as well. So same sort of thing as I'm feeding downstairs. I've just got mussels and king prawns for up here. Now when I feed this tank, I do feed wearing gloves, just because I put some garlic extract in here, and I think it just helps keep the fish a little bit healthier. It sort of helps deal with any parasites they might have, makes their immune system a little bit stronger. Just try to pick this bag of stuff out of the way. So in here you can see I've got some Dragon's Breath algae growing away, and I've got some little rocks in here, and this is where I keep this little grouper. Now this is going to be quite hard to film. Oh, you just saw him. He just stuck his head out of that little cave in the centre of the screen. But he does, oh there he is. He's just down there. Like I said, I'm doing this with gloves, so it's incredibly hard to try and film. But you can see him down there. He's got really bright blue spots on him, and he's got like a black body to him. And he sort of just scoots around behind these rocks. So you're going to have to watch closely because he is lightning fast. If you blink, you will miss it. But hopefully of course it goes in the algae. But it should flow around. There's quite a lot of flow. There he goes, bosh. Yeah, he's only tiny, but yeah, he's a beast when it comes to feeding. Straight onto frozen. Yeah, he's a super cool fish. And I think I mentioned in one of my other videos, I'm literally just collecting loads of different types of grouper at the minute, so when I build a huge saltwater pond, I can just fill it with all these different colour groupers, which would be epic. I'll get him another little bit, just because he normally takes 2 pieces. So he's back under his little rock, drop another, oh bosh, that's how quick he is. He is so quick, it's unreal. But yeah, he's eating like a trooper. He's not a fan of the mussel at the minute. He only really eats the king prawns, but oh, he's come out again. Let me see if he'll have another piece. So we'll try one more time. Sorry about my neighbour cutting his grass, but we'll see if he'll have one more piece. Again, blink. So you blink and you miss it. He's so fast. Yeah, he normally just has the 2 pieces, but it's like he's had a 3rd piece, and they're pretty decent chunks compared to him. But these groupers, they are very greedy. My mini ice grouper I've got here, he is an absolute beast, as you're going to see in a minute. He just hoovers up absolutely everything. But look at the colours on that. It's such an amazing fish. I want to get a huge tank. I was going to do it in the snake room, so where I've got all the snakes above the main fish pond, I was going to put a big tank up there and make that salt water, but I need more room for the stingrays, especially with that male getting a bit bulky. So yeah, I'm going to have to rethink about where I'm going to put these guys, but yeah, to have just a tank with some large groupers in would just be amazing. I'd love to have that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this top back on, shift the other lid over, and then we'll feed this tank, and you can see how much of a beast this guy is. The panther grouper probably won't come out. You can probably just see the edge of his fin through the rocks there. But yeah, he'll normally go down to his little cave, and then the food sort of collects underneath this little rock here. You can see that little mini cave there. All the food sort of sweeps underneath there, and he just sort of helps himself as and when he feels like it. So I've cut all them pieces up nice and small, very similar to like I do with the stingrays downstairs. And again, that's just to make sure that everybody gets some. So I'm going to put that in. I'll also put some of these seaweed extreme pellets in for the tangs. I'll soak them in some water because they do float for a little bit. I'll soak them in some water, pour them in, and I'll also give them like a couple of pieces of seaweed, a little bit of nori, just to make sure everything is fully fed. And once that's all done, I'll then start draining it down, and yeah, we'll do the water change. But for now, we'll just chuck some of this food in, and again, you're going to see the mini ice grouper. He's a decent size. If I sort of, I don't know if he's quite shy at times, but if I sort of put my hand next to the tank, he's probably the length of my hand. It doesn't look it on camera. He looks quite small on camera, but he's definitely a decent size. And I was worried he was going to eat that regal tank. That's the sort of size that he's at. So we'll chuck some chunks of this in, and yeah, you'll see how aggressive he is. He will just absolutely demolish everything. He's just, yeah, he's a machine. Now he sort of has about 5, maybe 6 mouthfuls, and then he's pretty much full. He will bully the other tangs to get to the food. He will just snatch it off them. I know that my puffer has nipped him a couple of times to give him a bit of a warning, so he doesn't really mess with the puffer too much, but yeah, the tangs he will sort of try and get the food off them. But you can see my little vampire tang, he sort of pops his head out from in the rocks every now and then. But the majority of this food will get brushed behind the rocks. The eel will come along, he'll snag up a few bits. The panther grouper, he'll then eat what he fancies, but he does sulk behind the rocks a lot, unfortunately. He used to come out all the time, and even with the mini ice grouper, he'd still come out and he'd sit on these rocks and have a little chill. But yeah, recently he's just been hiding. I've not seen any aggression between them. They'll have like a little bit of play where the panther group almost turns into like a bit of a puppy. He goes all soppy and he sort of swims around on his side and stuff like that. But I've not really seen any real aggression from him, so that's a good thing. It's one of the things I was worried about when I put him in there. But I'm gonna get all these chunks of food in, get the other tangs food in, give them some pellets, give them some seaweed, and then once that's done, I can get on to getting this water drained out. So while they're feeding and that food's getting in, one of the things I do plan on doing is, you can see I've got all the live rock all along the back. Now, I love the look of it, but it really does annoy me. I hate having to move the rock if I need to get fish out. I hate the fact that it does collect a lot of debris and things like that. And yeah, it does benefit the tank. It does add like a sort of surface area for all the bacteria, I know, blah, 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 blah. But I do plan on getting rid of all that rock. what I want to put in there is a pipe structure. So I'm going to get some really large diameter drain pipe. I'm going to buy a load of connectors for it, all different T's and elbow joins and things like that, 45s, and I plan to sort of make, like, I'm going to build all the pipes up here. I think I can get 4, for the dimensions I want, I think I can get 4 pipes high on both sides. I'm only going to go the width between here and the overflow box, same for over there, and I just want to have 4 pipes stacked up, all 4 joined top to bottom, have some T junctions coming out, and that's what I'm going to eventually have. Now it's going to be quite difficult because I want to put not clear pipe in there, but I want to sort of get like a grey tinted translucent pipe. I know you can get it, it's just whether I can get the joins and everything else. It's going to be tricky to find. If I can't, then I'll just have to go with just plain black, or I'll go with clear. But yeah, it's something I need to look into. But I will not just going to put straight pipe in there. I'm going to buy a load of putty that they use for like scaping things, and I want to sort of put the putty all over the pipe so it looks like it's got all rock and barnacles and stuff growing over it. That will add a little bit of weight as well to keep it weighted down. And the whole idea is that the fish can still swim in and out of there. There's loads of place for them to hide. If I want to pull the pipe out to give it a proper thorough clean behind there, I can. And yeah, it's just going to make tank maintenance a lot easier, and I think it will look quite cool as well. So yeah, that's something that I do plan on doing as well. Again, that's going to be another video on its own because that's going to be probably a week's worth of work by the time it's all done, but I think it will look really good, to be fair. I really do like it, and you can just see here these guys are starting to chow down on that seaweed up in there. They do love it. I do like to overfeed the tangs just because they do have quite a high metabolism. They do need to feed quite a bit. And I find using seaweed is just a good way. It doesn't produce too much waste for the water, and I think it does sort of benefit them as well. But the pellets, again, the pellets are really good, but I don't like the fact that the pellets can all brush underneath the rocks, and then they just break down and create more waste. So that's another reason why I want to get the pipes in there, just because it is going to be a lot easier to clean. So after nearly drowning and swallowing a ton of salt water, I've got the hose going, so that's now draining the water out of here slowly. I've got everything turned off. You can see they've eaten all that algae and everything else is pretty much gone. So everything is going to sulk for a little bit just while the water drains out and I fill it back up. I do need to address this basket because obviously as the water level goes down, that's not a floating basket, it's hooked onto the side. So I do need to work out what I'm going to do with that. But yeah, in the meantime, we'll just let this water drain all the way down. And I've already got the salt water mixed up in buckets ready to go, so I'm probably going to drain this about halfway, do a 50% water change, and yeah, we'll get it filled back up. And as this is doing this, I'm going to go around, I'm going to clean all the glass. And you see the glass is pretty clean on the inside. I think there's a few little patches that need a little rub, but yeah, other than that it's pretty much pristine. So yeah, we're slowly getting through these jobs. It takes time, but it's all worth it. So this basket does naturally float, and it actually gives me a chance to show you the group that I have in here. So I do have rocks in here, obviously I've had to take them out, otherwise it would sink. But yeah, it's a good time to actually show you him. So as you can see, the spots on him are just amazing. See how fat he is? He's absolutely chunked out to the max, and that's where he's had all that shrimp. He's literally eaten, he had about 5 pieces in the end. But yeah, look at the colours on that fish. And as he gets bigger, he'll just stay nice and dark. The spots will get even bigger, he'll get even more blue on him. And yeah, he is incredible. Look at that fish. I can't wait till this guy is the same size as the others so I can get him in. In a minute, he will just be a very expensive snack, so he will be in here for a while, but I'm hoping that the more I feed him, the quicker he's going to grow, basically. Look at that shot there, look at that fish. Oh, saltwater is amazing. I love saltwater. Yeah, it's a bit more tricky, costs more, but it is worth it when you've got animals like this. Look at that thing, it's incredible. Look how fat he is. So we're finally drained down to halfway. Now I'm not going to show you me filling this up, it's really not rocket science. I literally just mix my salt up. I've got it, most of it pre-mixed anyway, so he's literally ready to just go straight in. I'll have to mix a couple more buckets up of it, but I literally just hand jug it into there. At some point I probably will get a little external pump with some pipe on, and that way I can just pop the pump into the bucket and it will be a lot quicker. So yeah, that's something I'll probably do further down the line, but for now I'm just doing it the old manual labour way. A lot of the fish are sulking. The puffer, he's always out and about, he's always a happy chap, as you can see. He used to fit in that little gap there perfectly, but the more he grows, the chubbier he gets. He's slowly finding it harder and harder to squeeze in there. You can see the panther grouper, he's back there, he's always sulking now, he's always miserable. We've got myself in, my little regal tang's there in the bottom left side of the tank. And yeah, yellow tang pokes his head out every now and then. But right, I'm going to hurry up and get this filled up. The glass is pretty much as clean as I can get it. So yeah, we'll start getting it filled up, and hopefully these guys will cheer up a bit. And I've got to make sure this little chap doesn't escape. Now the tank is very murky, it's completely filled up. I've been down into the sump, I've cleaned all the socks, the skimmer, everything else that needed to be cleaning down there. And yeah, so this is the end result. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean all the glass properly. So I've got some water droplets and stuff. Clean all the glass, I'll let this settle down, and yeah, we'll come back then. But I will be doing a full breakdown on this sump. So as you can see, I mentioned I've got one of those media tanks in there that I've added, so that's added a little bit more volume of water, more filtration. You can see I've got some really bad salt creep going on, but I do need to sort all that out. The skimmer's already collecting stuff that foamed up a bit. And yeah, I've got my algae scrubber, which is just there, that I've 3D printed that. I'm now going to make version 2 shortly, just because I had to make this in 2 parts. I'm now going to make a whole one. But yeah, I'm going to pick up a tank today. I'm going to take all the electrics out of here and put a tank in there, get all that plumbed in and running, and then that hair algae that I've got, dragon breath algae, whatever it is up there, I'm going to get that in the tank. I love how the lights look. Can you see the light shimmering through? It's almost like when you watch the videos on the internet when they're deep sea divers and you see the light shimmer. Oh, it just looks so good when it's like this. But yeah, I'll get all this cleaned up, let it clear up, and we'll see what it looks like. And there we go. The tank is still not crystal clear. It's still a little bit murky, but I expect that probably overnight it will completely clear. I do plan on adding some filter foam sort of stuff, filter floss that I want to add in the bottom in the sump. I need to 3D print a little cage that it's going to sit in, just because I don't want it just to float around. I want to actually put it in a small cage so it's locked in place for the water to trickle over. It's almost like a little cartridge, if you like. So I've got to take the algae scrubber out that I've got in there, measure out how big it is just above the filter socks, and then I'll 3D print like a hinged cage type thing that will go in there, and it will trap the filter floss in place. And yeah, I can just cut loads of little pieces up, and I can change that as and when I need to. So yeah, that's one of the other things I need to do, and that way that will just polish the water off perfectly, and it will just be crystal clear. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So I will get around to doing this video, I promise. It's just something I just keep putting off and off and off because I really don't want to do it, but I will do it at some point. But yeah, other than that, hopefully you've enjoyed it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.